Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. It's lovely to have you along for the ride. So that went about as well as we thought it would go last night with Taijuan Walker. Remember when we all, I think all of Philadelphia, we had this meeting, this Philadelphia fans, we had this meeting, this Phillies fans, we had this meeting about how it was a terrible idea to start Taijuan Walker. And that's been an idea for quite some time. And we thought once we got through August that we never have to see him start again. Worse, some mop-up roles in the bullpen, you know, that whole thing. Well, the Phillies decided to give Taijuan Walker a start. Not only just like any start, like against the at the end of the year against the Nationals. Just start him there. You know, we just need some guys to, you know, let our starters rest and let him just kind of maybe start all three games. I don't know, against the Nationals and complete games. Just have him pitch every single inning of the last series of the season, and that way everyone's fresh for the postseason, right? Well, the Phillies didn't do that. They decided, let's start Taijuan Walker for the first time in September, on September 19th, in a meaningful game against the Mets, who only happen to have a scorching, boiling hot offense right now. They've scored 20 runs in the last two games. Let's start Taijuan Walker in that game. What could go wrong? Everything. Taijuan Walker gave up a career high in home runs last night with 4. Taijuan Walker had his worst start of the season and maybe the worst start of his career last night. The Phillies said, hey, Taijuan, you take this ball. You go out there, you throw a little bit. All right, good luck to you. And he was terrible. I saw him after the game. I watched his post-game hit after the game. Holy Stromboli. I legit feel bad for him. He's not going out there trying to suck. Like, he's not going out there then in between innings counting his $18 million. He wants to do well. I just hate the fact that the Phillies have continued to use him in general. Because I thought we mapped out a pretty nice plan for Taijuan Walker. I thought we laid out a great plan for Taijuan Walker, which is you shut him down, and then next year, you see what you get. Andrew Painter had a little bit of a setback in his rehab. You know, maybe he won't be ready for the first month of the season or so. I don't know. So Taijuan Walker would have a chance at least to be the 5th starter. I don't understand for the life of me why the Phillies just didn't shut him down. It's the perfect argument. It satisfies everyone. We don't have to see Taijuan Walker for the rest of the year. We can maybe have a little bit of hope, and the Phillies can have a little bit of hope that shutting them down this year and hit the reset button in the offseason would get him ready to be the 5th starter next year and maybe be a guy that can win you a couple of games and, you know, have an ERA of like 4.50, something like that. You know, I don't have delusions of grandeur, I guess, when it comes to Taijuan Walker. I'm trying to be as real as possible. I don't see him turning around next year and being like, wow, this guy could be a number 2 starter in this rotation. This guy's better than Aaron Nola. No, I don't see that happening at all. I really don't like what I've seen lately from Taijuan Walker. And I don't think you guys have either. If you didn't see the numbers that I put up last night on the postcast, if you guys didn't watch that, here you go. Here's August. Here's August Taijuan Walker. And the Phillies saw this. Oh, look, 6 runs. Oh, look, another 6 runs. Oh, look, 3 runs. Oh, another 3 runs. Oh, my goodness gracious. This is amazing. The Phillies looked at this and went, oh, yeah, more of that. We need that. We need that in a big series against the Mets where we haven't even clinched the playoff spot yet. You know what's crazy? You look at like the top 5 teams in all of baseball. The Guardians, like the Yankees, the Dodgers, those teams, right? They're like already clinched playoff berths. The Phillies are essentially the first place team in all of baseball, and they still haven't clinched a playoff berth yet. Thanks in large part to Taijuan Walker being terrible. But the Phillies looked at that and went, oh, yeah, give me more of that. So we'll talk about last night's game. I didn't intend to start the show with that. I was going to say that a little bit later, but whatever. But that's what happened. I went to bed last night angry. And I don't normally get that angry, you know, if I'm watching something. But when it's something that we have literally warned our team against 1,000 times, and then they just do it anyway, the phrase, don't make decisions based on the fans because you end up sitting with them. You know, sometimes the fans are right. Every once in a while, maybe in Philadelphia, maybe more often than not, we're right. We're right about Taijuan Walker. And if it was anybody else, for instance, that wasn't making $18 million, I'd just say, well, you're gone, obviously. Unfortunately, the money plays a factor into this. Phillies are going to have to pay somebody else to take him, which is just always so much fun. He is, instead of, just cutting him, which you can't do because of the money, Phillies had an opportunity there to just at least rid themselves of him for the year and cross their fingers and hope for the best next year. And maybe he pitches himself onto a trade block, gets interest from somebody else, and maybe you're paying a little less money to trade him. But no, they just kept on rolling him out there, and we tried to warn them. Let's move on to more optimistic things. So the Eagles. Oh no! Oh god! Ugh. So the Eagles, they're playing the Saints, who only happen to be amazing at football this year. All of a sudden, Clint Kubiak has that offense clicking on all cylinders. They look incredible. I hate games like this where I know the opponent is a pretty damn good football team, and I know the opponent is the best team in the NFL right now. I mean, think about it. The best 47 points in week 1, 42 points. There should be 44 points last week against the Cowboys and against a defense that was really good last year. They went out there and they just stomped them. They just went out there and absolutely stomped them. And Clint Kubiak has Chris Olave, certainly has Alvin Kamara, certainly has Derek Carr clicking. Rashid, the wide receiver as well, has these guys going out and just going out there and playing great football. And the Eagles can't get out of their own way. That's what it feels like when it comes to the run game. And you're looking at Alvin Kamara going out there to Sunday, and I have no good feeling about this. Yesterday, Vic Fangio addressed the media and was asked about why he's confident that this team will turn it around. And he goes, because I've seen them play. And, I understand in week 2, you're not going to make wholesale changes. He does get asked that question as well. We'll let you hear his answer to that. But I understand after week 2, you're not going to make wholesale changes. But good God, this Eagles defense, this Eagles run game looks putrid. And I keep going back mentally to listening to Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter taking this role so seriously and understanding that, quote, nobody's coming to save us. Fletcher Cox isn't walking through that door, whatever. Javon Hargrave isn't here anymore, and he hasn't been. They know what the role was. They know what was being asked of them by the franchise. Hell, they knew that when they were drafted in the first round. And to see nothing from them, the only two people you see on the defensive line that are really having any kind of true impact, Milton Williams, which is a little surprising, and I had confidence he'd be that solid number 3 guy. I didn't think he'd be anything close to the star of the show. And Thomas Booker. These are the guys. These are the guys. And Bryce Huff has been non-existent. The concern about Bryce Huff going into this season, as I laid it out for you many times, was whether or not he was going to be ready for that promotion from the Jets. Are you going to be ready to be, instead of that 40% snap guy, you're going to be that 71 snap guy, the 71% of the snaps like Hassan Reddick last year and really throughout his career as an Eagle? Are you going to be ready for that promotion, for that type of increase in workload? I had some questions. I wasn't blown away when the Eagles made the signing. I went, that seems like a lot of money. Hassan Reddick wants some money. That's a lot of money for this guy that is an unproven commodity. Okay. There was an argument that was being made in the early goings of that with the Eagles not bringing back Hassan Reddick that maybe Vic Fangio didn't want him. Maybe Hassan Reddick didn't want to be here because he didn't want to be drop back in coverage with Vic Fangio's defense. Maybe that was the case. I think Vic Fangio would love to have Hassan Reddick right now. I think he would absolutely adore the idea of, oh, look at this guy on my roster. I can use this guy that is always good and very consistent. Oh, let me use that. Because I'm not getting after the quarterback with any of these jokers. I think that would be amazing. because the way he has talked about Bryce Huff, I can't imagine him talking about Hassan Reddick, I'll tell you that much. And listening to him yesterday, answering the question, he's coming along. He's coming along? Really? Really? He's coming along. Really? $53 million for coming along. I'm glad the Eagles could take a Jets talent and try to develop him. That's going to go great. I'll say in one direction, it's gone great for Mekhi Becton. He looks like a stud. Has not gone great for Bryce Huff. Not shocked. Not shocked. So we got all that fun stuff to get into. That's a lot of fun. We're going to have fun today. We're going to have fun today is what we're going to do going into this fine weekend. Phillies got 3 against the Mets. Eagles are going up against a team that's just been poop cannon teams this whole year. Well, all 2 weeks. Yeah, let's have some fun. All right. Let me just get last night's game out of the way. So I just gave you my rant on Taijuan Walker. So there you go. You know how I feel about Taijuan Walker. Here's what's crazy about last night's Phillies game. They actually had a chance to really make that a game. In the 7th inning of last night's game, they got the bases loaded with nobody out. And in one instance, Bryce Harper, I thought lollygagged it again. It's the national Fox broadcast. So very rarely are you going to see a national broadcast go, hey, let's see if he was hustling. You know what I mean? Like you'll hear T-Mac or you hear John Kruk go, what was he doing out of the box? And then you'll see Bryce Harper and he's lollygagging it, right? In last night's game, you're trying to get something going. And it finally comes down to the 7th inning, and you went into that inning down 9-3 in that inning. You blow the bases with nobody out. Kyle Schwarber steps up to the plate, grounds into the 4-6 fielder's choice. A run comes home to score, makes it 9-4. Trey Turner steps up, strikes out, unfortunately. He had a great game defensively last night, but he struck out in this inning. Then Bryce Harper steps up and gets a 2-run double to center field. On that play, I think it was Bader in center field. He fell down. And I totally expected, with the way the ball was hit, the fact that you could get on third, I totally expected Bryce Harper to be on third base. And Bryce Harper, time and time again, I've referenced this before, he hits the slow roller in the right center field gap or left center field gap, and he feels like he smells that double, and he stretches that single into a double with speed and hustle. I thought for sure when they pulled out for the bird's eye view of the diamond, you were going to see Bryce Harper busting around second base trying to turn that double into a triple with the way that ball was fielded in right center field. Nope. Mosey on into second base. I'm like, all right. I'm not going to get furious here. I'm not going to lose my mind over that right now because, it was like 9-3 a second ago, so I'm not going to, just go crazy over that. And then Alec Bohm flew out to right field. And look, the hindsight thing is, well, it didn't matter because Alec Bohm flew out to right field. But I still want to look at Bryce Harper. And look, here's the thing. Bryce Harper has got the injuries. He's battling through it. He seems to be unable to swing with zero pain. And I admire that. So my thing is, why not do the things extremely well and full tilt when it doesn't hurt your, like, for instance, he's not running on his elbow. He's not running on his wrist. He's running with his legs and his feet. And the mindset of Bryce Harper usually on plays like that is, let me get the most out of this. And he did not. So that was frustrating. Not as frustrating as Taijuan Walker being terrible. Not as frustrating as Dave Dombrowski's terrible season. Let me go through the game before I get to Dave Dombrowski. But, yeah. So, end of the first inning, it's 2-0 in favor of the Mets. Getting to the third inning, Trey Turner ties it up with a 2-run home run, 19th of the season. Good to see that. Brandon Nimmo bounces right back with a 2-run home run in the third inning, made it a 4-2 game. Brandon Marsh, RBI single in the fourth inning, made it a 4-3 game. So, all right, it's a one-run game. Let's get something going here. Unfortunately, Taijuan Walker was still pitching when the fourth inning rolled around. I was hoping at that point that he wasn't going to come back out, but he came back out. Hits Martinez, works a walk to Taylor. Alvarez crushes one, 421 feet. That wasn't cool. Made it a 7-3 game. Nimmo goes up there, gets the RBI double. When Ruiz came into the game, Venitos goes in there off Ruiz again, RBI single. It's a 9-3 game just like that. It was pretty bad. As it went on, it just continued to get worse, unfortunately, until that 7th inning where there was some hope, and nothing more was to be done after that. It was with Acuña's triple in the 7th inning, that made it a 10-run game for the Mets, the first time in Mets history that they've scored 10 runs in 3 consecutive games. Thanks for stopping by, Taiwan Walker. Good to see you. Dave Dombrowski is a brilliant baseball man. I like Dave Dombrowski a lot. Dave Dombrowski, unfortunately, is having a terrible season. Absolutely god-awful season. And he'd be better if he would listen to us about Taiwan Walker a while back. Unfortunately, he hasn't. That's all I can talk about the Phils. I can't stress on that. All right, let's learn a little bit more from Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio yesterday was asked about the Eagles' run defense and what he could do to help it. Here he goes.
What has clearly been a problem.
Yeah, it's been, we've obviously played a lot of nickel these first 2 games because the teams are playing a lot of 3 wides against us. So, most teams' normal reaction is to play a good bit of nickel. We just have to do a better job of coaching the guys on the technique and do the job better. I just haven't done a good enough job of getting that done.
If you remember, before the season started, right when the Eagles had hired Vic Fangio, I had talked about the buzzwords you're going to hear a lot with Vic Fangio, or the phrases, not aggressive, quarters defense, are the players going to like them, that whole thing. But one of the things that I really talked about was the discipline. And true, he had some phenomenal players out there in San Francisco when he was there with some of his best years. The thing that I always took away from those defenses was discipline. And I'm seeing missed tackles in the secondary. I'm seeing nothing executed to perfection on the defensive line from the guys that you were expecting to be executing with perfection. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, most notably. You're not seeing that. And to hear Vic Fangio talk about how he needs to do a better job, like, does this team need time to adjust? Because everything seemed like it was going swimmingly in training camp where everybody seemed to be on the same page. Everything seemed to be fine in minicamp. There was no issue with either the personality or the scheme, most importantly with Vic Fangio then. I'll say this, he takes bullets for his team. That's what he was doing yesterday. I need to do a better job. Here's the next one on him talking more about the run defense and whether or not there needs to be wholesale changes.
I feel like you've reached a point, obviously, two teams have gouged you on the run, problems with pass rush. Do you feel like you've reached a point where changes need to be made? I know it's early.
Not wholesale changes, no. We need to do a better job with me at the lead of preparing the guys to play with better technique and better discipline.
Discipline is the buzzword that crushes my soul because the Eagles defense at the end of last year, I mean, as well as the offensive play calling, both were just awful. And the guy that really jumps out to me at the end of last year is James Bradbury, but he ain't playing this year. You brought back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I've watched Chauncey Gardner-Johnson get burnt like toast in the first 2 games of the season. The most disappointing thing about this year is that the Eagles really invested in developing their defensive line and one of their edge rushers. Going into the season, we had talked about how this defensive line had never been as thin as it was going into this year. You're banking on Jordan Davis. You're banking on Jalen Carter. You're banking on Milton Williams to be that solid number 3. Thomas Booker wasn't even in the conversation. And it has gone the exact if you were the most pessimistic fan going into this season, I don't think you could have predicted this. And that is insanely disappointing. The obvious investment with Bryce Huff you've seen nothing. Again, the wildest thing in this game Monday night against the Falcons was Britton Covey's stat line compared to other players. For instance, more targets than Dallas Goedert and Jahan Dotson combined and more tackles than Bryce Huff. 1. That's an insane stat, man. That's an insane stat. It speaks volume for your investment, volumes for your investment in Bryce Huff. And now you're going to face an offense that is averaging 45.5 points in the first 2 games. You're averaging an offense that averages 183 yards over those 2 games just on the ground. And a quarterback that is quite elusive and gets rid of the ball. Derek Carr threw the ball 15 times last week. All right. That's limited. That's not going to give you many opportunities to make a difference. So if you're looking for all of a sudden the passing game, or excuse me, the pass rush of the Eagles to burst out onto the scene, that's not going to happen. And one of the things that really stuck out to me yesterday for Vic Fangio was it all starts with stopping the run. And he was asked what he means by that. And he goes, well, we're not going to get into an obvious passing down unless we stop the run. So if we keep on allowing 6 runs on first down, or 6 yards on the ground and on first down, they're just going to keep on throwing it. They're just going to keep on throwing that in our face. And this defense does not show any signs of stopping anybody. And the whole bend but don't break thing is great until push comes to shove and it's close and late in the game. And all of a sudden you see a guy like Kirk Cousins drive down the field like it's nothing. And Darius Slay just gets burnt in the end zone. Fangio again was asked about confidence in his team, and he's confident that they're going to turn it around because he's seen them play. You've seen 2 games from Jalen Carter. You've seen 2 games from Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter being late and being punished for that, for not starting. That is a guy that is just not taking it serious. That's infuriating. You're struggling the way you're struggling so far this year. You're the guy now, Jalen Carter, and you're getting punished. Do you think someone's coming to save you? Was all that a lie in minicamp? No one's coming to save us. Okay, you think maybe someone's coming to save you? Is that your mentality? Because it does not have the I'm the next guy to take the next 10 years of this Eagles defensive tackle spot and fill in for Fletcher Cox and carry the tradition on. That's supposed to be what he is, and I haven't seen that. Granted, of the 2, Jordan Davis for me is the bigger concern because he was the guy supposed to be taking up double teams to let Jalen Carter get in the backfield, maybe. It hasn't happened. For both those guys to be as bad as they have been this year is horrifying. That's a horrifying thought. If you would have told me that going into the year that you'd see nothing from these 2 at the start of the season, that would be alarming because I was already concerned about the deepest the defensive line has been since well before Fletcher Cox. And the Eagles are riding into this. They made a big investment in Bryce Huff. Haven't seen anything from him, despite playing more snaps last week. So now it's supposed to be confident the Eagles are going to go out there on Sunday at 1:00 and they're supposed to win this game. I don't think so. I try to talk myself into some optimism going into last night because I had no other choice. Try to talk myself into some optimism when it came to Taiwan Walker. I don't think I could talk myself into some optimism when it comes to the Eagles going out there and just all of a sudden figuring out how to stop Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave in the secondary. I don't see how that just comes up like, oh, all right, we're good now. Rashid Shaheed is who I'm thinking of, the wide receiver. Quite the speedster. 4 catches last week, 96 yards. He's pretty good. Eagles going to be able to tackle him. I'm not feeling good about it. Eagles over the top against him. Not feeling great about it. For somehow, magically, the Saints are only 2.5 point favorites in this game in New Orleans. Give me a reason in the chat. Why are the Eagles? Give me a reason I should believe the Eagles are going to win this game. And then I know the theme through the locker room this week was It's not 2023, it's 2024. Brandon Graham talked about it. Reed Blankenship talked about it. It looks a hell of a lot like 2024. And I'm watching the secondary get burnt. Darius Slay get lost. Says he was looking in the backfield. He looked like he just got completely turned around by Drake London. And I'm supposed to have confidence he's going to come out here and stop this offensive attack. That was a problem at the end of last year, too. Nick Sirianni not addressing the locker room after the game. First off, good. Because less is more with Nick Sirianni as far as I'm concerned. But there is a horrifying thing that surrounds that, which is the head coach matters. And it feels like right now the Eagles went into this season and through the offseason after the decision to hold on to Nick Sirianni and say, yeah, it doesn't matter. The head coach of the football team, it doesn't matter that much when it comes to winning games. As long as Nick Sirianni is the rah-rah shish-goomba guy, as long as Nick Sirianni is emotionally intelligent, we'll be good. We'll bring in Kellen Moore. He'll run the offense. We'll bring in Vic Fangio, the guy we've been pining over for 3 years. We'll bring him in to run the defense. And Nick Sirianni just needs to be there and be a nice guy. He needs to be the guidance counselor. He needs to be the regional manager. That's all. He's only the head coach of your football team. My stance on it was, no, gross. That's a terrible idea. But yet they did it. So, all right, if I could look at this with some semblance of optimism, then, all right, well, fine. Then he just does that. Everyone else does their own thing, and the head coach of this football team will just continue to do what the head coach of this football team is most responsible for doing. You know what that is? That's to make Jeffrey Lurie feel like he owns the team. That's what it is. And in all honesty, this feels like a year that the Eagles are going to have Nick Sirianni as their head coach. They're going to try their best with their coordinators, and then they're going to bring in Bill Belichick. That's the vibe I get from this season. 2 weeks in, it feels like Nick Sirianni is in some holding pattern, which is kind of weird because it wasn't like Bill Belichick wasn't available this year. That's the only thing that makes me think this won't happen. But all in all, the Eagles are in a position right now where they could be having this year that is almost I hate to call it a rebuilding year or anything like that because it doesn't even feel like that. It feels like a gap year. And the Eagles go into this season and go, all right, well, Nick Sirianni is just going to run the show. Let's see if this works with 2 new coordinators. He had good coordinators before, and he went to a Super Bowl. So let's get him better coordinators, most experienced coordinators that he's ever had, both for the defense and both for Jalen Hurts. And let's see how they do. Maybe we can make this work. Then you have the carryover from last year to this year with the missed tackles, bad defense, Jalen Hurts' turnovers. Yeah, it feels oddly like last year. And my point yesterday remains the same now. You went into last year, or you came out of last year, rather, and started out week 1. With the most pressure that could possibly be on a week 1. Because if you lose, even if it's not week 1, if it's week 2, if you lose, it immediately reminds fans of what happened last year, and it makes them feel like last year ain't over. The struggles aren't over. The carryover is very much there. Watching Jalen Hurts dot the I with some passes and then make horrendous decisions is rather off-putting. And it's certainly not encouraging. Because that's exactly what you saw at the end of last year. Kellen Moore is supposed to correct this. Jalen Hurts was supposed to correct it. And although played a pretty damn good game for the most part against the Falcons, watching him on that final play when the Eagles still had a timeout and a chance to get in a field goal range, he blows it with the worst possible decision. They asked Kellen Moore about it yesterday. Kellen Moore didn't answer the question. The question, I believe, was from Zach Berman, and it was a good question. It was a good way to set him up. Maybe it was ESP. I don't know. What would you want to see Jalen Hurts do on that last play? And the answer to the question from to Kellen Moore, the answer from Kellen Moore should have been either throw it at the feet of Saquon, live to fight another down, or hopefully maybe he sees Britton Covey cutting across the middle in the underneath route. But no, Jalen tried to give us a chance. Safety made a great play on it. That was a phenomenal play by the safety. Safety made a great play. It wasn't that great a play. Ball was drastically overthrown. Try to give Devontae a chance to catch the ball. Well, how about not giving Devontae a chance to catch the ball and giving a guy a chance to catch the ball who was open and not throwing into double coverage, triple coverage on that play? Maybe that. Live to fight another down. That's what's so awful about it. At first down, so many of these issues have happened on first down. Whether, for those that have watched me and listened to me for a long time, I'm going to go back to it. 1st and 10 against Seattle Seahawks last year. You're in Seahawk territory. You're up 4 points in the fourth quarter, 8:15 left, and you're airing it out down the middle of the field to Quez Watkins. Yeah, remember Quez Watkins? That was a terrible decision. And then this year, hey, first down after a 13-yard completion to Dallas Goedert, who you recently remembered was on your team. You air it out to Devontae Smith. Terrible decision. But that's the way Kellen Moore answered it. It's going to be. It was a great play by the safety. The safety made a great play. What are you going to do? The safety made a great play. Well, I'm not going to give the safety. How about this? Not giving the safety an opportunity to make a play on it. We're all having fun. We're having fun here. Finally, look, I'm over it. I'm on to the Saints. We're moving on to New Orleans. But I feel like it would be unfair because we haven't heard from Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore got thrown under the bus by Nick Sirianni after the game. I know it's common knowledge that Kellen Moore calls the plays. Okay, fine. Sometimes people might think, though, in crunch time, that maybe Nick Sirianni is calling the play or making the decision, telling Kellen Moore to throw the football. Doesn't appear to be the case. And after the game, Nick Sirianni didn't try to cover for his offensive coordinator. He flat out said that Kellen calls the plays. And he was asked whether or not he has the authority to overrule a play call. And he said, yeah, I'm the head coach. Again, as I said yesterday, Nick Sirianni is not going to overrule Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore was brought in by the boss man, Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, the bosses, if you will. He's not going to overrule him in that situation because Kellen Moore would probably go right to Jeff Lurie and Howie Roseman and go, this guy is overruling me. What? I thought I was calling plays here. I came here to call plays. So I don't see that happening. But in the game, Kellen Moore called the play, which was the throw to Saquon Barkley to try to win the game. I don't mind the play call. I understand there's the other side of the argument. For me, I want a guy to try to win the game. And that's what they tried to do. They had a play. Everything was executed to perfection other than the most important thing, which is catching the football. So after Kellen Moore was thrown under the bus by Nick Sirianni, Kellen Moore finally got an opportunity to address the media and give his version of what happened on that play. And here's what he had to say about 3rd and 3 at the end of the game against the Falcons.
Run clock.
Yeah. Obviously a decision factor on that play, a big moment in the game. Ran the first 2 plays. Obviously felt like we were gaining a few yards. Second down play, they had a lot in the box. There was a lot of people in there. Saquon was able to avoid a few of them and get a couple yards out of it, but felt like we had a play that was set up that had a potential opportunity to finish the game off. Obviously, there's risk associated with that play, like any play. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out the way we had hoped. But those are situations where we're constantly having conversations about, talking about how best to handle those situations, and felt like obviously we missed the opportunity.
And that you did. I can't remember as controversial a play call and a play and the way it was not executed. I can't remember as controversial a moment this early in the season. Certainly not one in the Nick Sirianni era. But I'm like, I feel like this is, with the way this play has been scrutinized, I feel like it's week 16 and the Eagles are fighting for a playoff spot, and that was the play call at the end of the game. If you were to give a reason for why this team could win, I mean, what do you go, offense? You're going to get in a shootout with the Saints? My feeling is, if you're really looking for optimism, nobody expected the Falcons to come into Philadelphia and win. Now the Eagles are going into New Orleans, into the Superdome. And I'm going to expect them to win. The line is encouraging. The fact that the Saints, for the 45.5 points they've scored over per game over their first 2 games, the line is encouraging. That it's not like 7.5. That's certainly encouraging. And the idea that it's never as bad as it really is, even though it feels like it. But anytime I try to reach for any sign of optimism, I go to, there was no cure for this last year. Like at the end of the year, we kept expecting the Eagles are a talented team. They'll get themselves out of this. The Eagles will find the way out of this. The Eagles are a talented team. They'll get out of this. And now you're 1-1 after 2 weeks, and you blew a game. Absolutely blew this game against the Falcons, where your run defense for 2 straight games was non-existent. And now you're going up against Alvin Kamara, and you're going to control things. I can't get to that point. And I don't think by Sunday I'm going to get to that point. If I had to give you the prediction for this Eagles game, I see this being something close to a 31-17 Eagles loss. That's how this game feels to me. And maybe I can make up for it, because when I went to Parks Casino, one of the waiters stopped me and goes, "Hey, Farzy, what do you got for this game, man?" And I was like, "Oh, Eagles cover. Eagles cover this. Eagles got this." Hopefully he didn't bet the mortgage. Otherwise, I'm going to see him on Sunday and, "Hey, Farzy." It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. So, yeah, 1 o'clock kickoff. 31-17, Saints win. What do you guys have? Ugh. Okay. Let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. That's right. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase. And don't forget about Game Time Picks. Game Time Picks is amazing. Game Time Picks lets you filter out the fluff so you know exactly what you're buying. And when you cut down to brass tacks, you get right to the best seats at the best prices with Game Time Picks. So download the app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase. And also don't forget to toggle the all-in pricing feature. You know what that does? I'll tell you what that does. The all-in pricing feature allows you to see exactly what you're paying before you check out. How easy is that? How easy, how fantastic is that with the Game Time app? So this way you don't have that sticker shock when you go to check out. You know exactly what you're paying before you buy. Also, you can view your seat before you buy it, so you take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Game Time has that new feature, Game Time Picks, that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play a little easier. Filters out the fluff to show you the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste your time searching through literally thousands of tickets on the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone. Also, don't forget about the Game Time guarantee. That means if you find tickets in the same section, same row, for less money elsewhere, the Game Time app will refund your account 110% of the difference. That right there is the Game Time guarantee. So download the Game Time app. Use promo code Farzy, F-A-R-Z-Y, for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get to the chat check and see how you guys are doing on this fine Monday morning. The weather's fine, just about nothing else is. IBH's, good morning. Jack Dwight, hello. It's not fair for a team trying to get the number 1 seed to keep him active. Dombrowski blew this one. Yeah, thank you for that. Dombrowski did blow this one. We were all over here being like, no, don't start him. Yeah, shut him down. Cut him. Whatever. No, let's live in a world of reality. An $18 million player over the next 2 years is not getting cut. So what do? You shut him down. And you say, dude, hit the reset button on your career in the offseason, and then we'll readdress in the next season. It's perplexing that a team with this many wins can't find a serviceable fifth starter, basically conceding every 5th game. That's how it feels. I like how Colby Allard had one bad start, and they're like, get out of here. Good morning, James Alexander. Walker frustrated me last night with our new arena. It's better that people should just use public transportation instead of paying $25, $50 for parking. Yes, I agree. Oof. Jack Dwight, you got to pour salt in the open wound. You would think the GM who drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson would be on thin ice, but he keeps bleeping the bed. Yeah, if all these Georgia products don't work out, Howie might be on the hot seat. Tony, hello. If the Eagles start 1-3, any major moves during the bye week? Sirianni gone? Certainly possible. For anyone that just wanted Sirianni gone, this is happening exactly as you wanted. The unfortunate thing is you have to root for your team to suck. So, yeah, 1-3, I wouldn't be surprised. Jason A., good morning. Sean Kilrain, hello. Just like Seth said on the show, you were on Fangio, got out-coached, but the Pantera got step up, and they're nowhere to be found, Farzy. Yep, that's a problem. Huff sucks. Yep, I agree. Sean Kilrain, hello. Just like you said yesterday, why in the hell was Dallas Goedert? Why wasn't he targeted more with AJ on the sideline? I don't know. It's a very difficult thing to answer. I wish I knew. Don't have faith, Farzy. Win? Question mark? Ha 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 ha. Laughing emojis. They will win because Vic had Amazon delivered. They will win because Vic had Amazon delivered discipline at the NovaCare? Oh, okay. You're saying Amazon delivered discipline. That's funny. Problem solved. Thank you, Kyle. Ooh, Sean Kilrain. Little play, Slay. Can't keep up with the wideouts who run great routes like London. The Sunday, Shaheed and Olave. See Jamal Williams doing damage just as much as Kamara. Oh, you guys agree. Yep, pretty much. Slagger57. Getting new experienced coordinators is all well and good, but you have to have talent on both the offensive and defensive line. They appear to have on one. Yeah, offensive line looks great. Defensive line looks terrible. Tracy Richardson, do you think Goddard's lack of targets is more plays not getting called for him or Jalen just not seeing him looking for him? I feel like it's Jalen not looking for him. I feel like Jalen looks at the defense and too often goes, all right, let's go to Smitty. Okay, let's go to A.J. Brown. All right, let's check it down to Saquon. I don't think the in-between guy, Dallas Goedert, gets too many looks, unfortunately. Slagger57, you seriously expect Kellen Moore to tell the truth and throw Hurts under the bus? No, but he's asked the here's the deal. We get this isn't even 10 years ago? We all get the all 22 now. All you got to do is sign up for, I do it through NFL Plus, and I watch the all 22 and I go, all right, let's see what happened on that play. Oh, he had this, that, and the other. There's no, for me, it's not the throw under the bus line. I use it for Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore. That's the best way to describe it. But in actuality, what it really is acknowledging what we already know. So what's the teaching moment for Jalen Hurts on that play? The teaching moment is live to fight another down. You got time. You got a timeout. You have it. Here's the thing. Once you see the pressure, they ran a TE on that. Once you see the pressure in your face, spike it at the feet of Saquon Barkley. You know he's out there. You see him do a little look over to him, and then he's like, oh, nope, and throws it downfield. So for me, I think it's just acknowledging what everyone already knows. But hearing what it should be from the teaching perspective of a coordinator, that's what I want to hear. I didn't hear that. Stratus, what's going on? In training camp, they were saying Devin White was covering Barkley pretty well. Don't think he should be out there to help shut down. Don't you think he should be out there to help shut down Kamara? If he's healthy, yeah. I'm fine with that. Any active body that could bring something, please. Keith Moody, Fangio needs to start White. That's what they brought him here for. We know what Dean is. Okay, blitzing linebacker. That's it. Yeah, Dean was disappointing in this one. After encouraging signs in week 1, disappointing in this one. 31-17, Eagles lose. Phillies tonight. 7:10 start time on Apple TV. That'll be a good time. Lefty versus lefty, Sanchez versus Peterson. I need another. Here's the other thing. The bats actually came alive last night, but you had Taijuan Walker start the game. I'm going to give this optimism. Phillies win tonight, baby. Let's go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. More of me on Fox 29 at 7:45 today, so don't miss that. And then don't forget pre- and post-game coverage with Set Joiner Derek on the Set Joiner YouTube channel, so don't miss that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Back with you guys tonight on Locked On Sports Philadelphia's postcast. I'll also give you a play-by-play recap for those that don't have Apple TV, but I'll be on after the game tonight. Thanks, everyone. Catch you guys tonight on Locked On Phillies postcast, and catch you guys Sunday for Eagles pre- and post-game coverage. See you then.